Now that we have all of our pieces drawn, we can start assembling this thing. So, probably the simplest thing to do is I'm going to make a subassembly of these three pieces. So first I'm going to start by assembling them. This is kind of tricky. I want this centered on here, so it's kind of a difficult thing to do. So I want to go to joint, and I want the joint to be between two faces to center it. So I want between here and here, I'm going to click between here and here, which will let me select the center plane on there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the tire between here. Oops, I made an uh-oh. Between here and, so did I get my first thing on there? Between here and the one on the other side there, which will once again let me click that center plane. And that should center the tire, which it does. And this is very good. We got the tire centered. Then I want to put this piece, the connector here, in the back of the rim. So I'm going to do that. Get the center point. And I want to go to the back of the rim here, and it very nicely as you do it. Now, if it's upside down like this, that's not an issue because we'll hit flip, and flipped over, it looks perfect. So this is great. Now, what I want to do is I actually want to turn this into a subassembly. So I'm going to make a new component, and I'm going to call it tire assembly. And the tire assembly will basically be these three parts. Or actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to grab these three parts like here, and then I'm going to move them to the tire assembly. I'm even going to capture the position. So T9 rim, axle, and tire should all be in there. And as you can see, it brings their joints with them. So now what I'm going to do, I've got that all selected. I can actually take this and in one foul swoop, make a copy, and I can go up here and I can paste. And I want this to be a regular paste. I don't want to paste new, because if I were to paste new, I would be making, I'm going to take two of these out of here. This one I'm going to rotate 180. The reason I'm not pasting new is it would not bring any of the joints over. We do want these tires to all be exactly the same. And once more, I'm going to paste. And once again, I'm going to go 180. And that's for later when I go to assemble. It should make my life easier. So I've got all four of the rims. And if I go here, I should be able to move them around independently. These two are eventually going to go on this side, and these two will eventually go on that side, and we'll do revolutes for them, and they should spin nicely. Even though really we should have done revolutes with the axle to here, because that's what's spinning. This should be locked in the car, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I do want to make a copy of this, so I'm going to go to the connector. I'm going to need two of those. Copy, and I am going to go to paste. And it can be a paste new or a regular paste, doesn't matter. We're not editing the part. And to assemble this, I am actually just going to turn some pieces off. So I'm going to start by turning the midsection off, and I'm going to assemble with a joint right here, center of the joint here, and I'm going to put that in the center of the front piece right there. And that should be a very easy one without having much modification. And then I'm going to once again do an assembly right here. I'm going to go to joint. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to put it in the rear of the car. So I'm working on this. I'm trying to get a good angle here. I might have to use the free rotate tool. Okay, I think that'll do it. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to, now that this is in here, I'm going to turn the midsection on, and I'm going to do an assemble as as drawn here. So like I'm going to go to as built joint. I'm just going to connect this to this, click OK, and I'm going to do another one as built joint, this to this. And that will lock them in place. So now this is all one big happy entity. And I'm going to ground the center of the midsection. So now it is grounded, all those pieces are together. They could still do an exploded view. That'd be great. The windshield's kind of difficult to assemble. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to joint. And you see how like it's selecting this level. I want to get that middle point in this level. And that will flush that part of this level with the bed. So I don't want to grab one of these points yet because it won't let me like hover. So I got to grab the whole top face and then I can select the middle point here. And that will allow me to drop the windshield in on the frame. Okay. Now I got to put all the rims in. I haven't tried this yet, so this could be an experience. So I believe I should be able to want to do a revolute. Joints. Motion. Revolute, so it'll spin. And I believe I want to get this face on the center. If I spin and look at the car, let's try this face on the center. And it didn't bring the tire with it, but when I click OK, it is. And now I should, if I went and played with this, this should be a revolute joint. Oh, and this can slide. I put that as a slider joint. That is not what we want. That's not ideal. That should not have been a slider. It's kind of cool that it is, but it should not have been. It should have been a regular joint. So I have to go in. And the nice thing is when I do change this on the joints, neither of these should be sliders. So I can actually edit this joint and it should be a rigid. So I believe I can change this to a rigid. And then this one's a slider, and I believe I can do the same thing with this one, so I can go back. And since they're all copies of each other, this should be making them all rigids. Rigid, okay, so there we go. So I got a tire that can spin. Very cool. So we did not want sliders there. But that procedure worked, so we will do this procedure a few more times. You know, want that one. Spin the car around the other way. And right there, let's see, it's bringing it, revolute. Got a tire that spins. Yep, the slider's gone because like I said, all of those are the same. Subassembly, so they should do the same thing. And I will start on the car this time. I'm going to start on the car right here, boom. And zooming out, I'm going to grab the center of the rim. And that looks funky, but it's okay. It'll snap back into place. And then one more time. Go to assembly joint. And I'm going to go here. And all right, so I just spun it around and went to assemble, and I noticed when I did the front drawing, for whatever reason, I did not put in the second hole. I didn't mirror it. I put the plane in to mirror it, but I didn't mirror it. So we're going to do that now. And to do that, we're going to select this component. And it gives us all the stuff for the front one. So this plane should have been, I don't think that's the right value, negative 3.117 divided by 2. That'll put the mirror plane right in the middle. Now, if we look at that mirror plane, and I'm on the front piece here, so I can close this assembly, I gotta turn that, not that sketch, I wanna turn that plane on, because I'm gonna need it in a second. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click the hole where the axle goes, and I'm gonna go to create, and I'm gonna go to mirror. So it's got that hole picked now, I just need to select the mirror plane, which is this plane, and click OK. That puts the hole in, I can turn the mirror plane off, I can get back to assembling. So that was a mistake. If you caught the mistake earlier, good on you. If not, then you're just like me, and I made the mistake too. So not a big deal. Do not get the properties of this until you have the second hole though. So obviously I'm going to tell you guys that in class, but that's important. So the last thing we got to do is go back here. Got my rim up here, and I'm just going to go to joint. I'm going to select center of this hole as we did on the other ones and spin it around. And select right there. I'm going to click OK. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm going to come back, and I got all 4 of my wheels on and turning, which is great. I'm going to hit stop recording.